told me it was a car accident, that my arm was crushed in the wreck and they had to amputate it above the elbow, that the other car was destroyed, that the driver died instantly, that the woman and her 3 children in the other vehicle didn't make it either, that I was lucky. But there's a part of me that's not buying it. It's not just the dreams. It's not just the phantom pain. It's not just that the stump feels used, like something has been gnawing at the memory of it. It's the smell. Keep smelling smoke, burning meat, sweet cloying rot. It hits me in waves when I brush my teeth, when I'm alone in the elevator, when the lights flicker just a bit too long before turning on. That thick, hot scent. I know it. I remember it, but I don't remember any crash. I remember fire, yes, but it wasn't from gasoline or broken engines. It was a torch, held close to my skin while I screamed no braid. Couldn't scream properly. Something was in me, or had been taken from me. I remember stars. I remember masked faces. I remember the thing that came from the forest. And I remember that sound-wet gurgling hunger. Beak snapping, flesh tearing. The chants all around me in a language no mouth should be able to form. That's what I remember. Not a seatbelt, not airbags, not a paramedic kneeling over me saying, "Stay with me, buddy." What I remember is waking up on a stone slab, blood sticky on my back, a fire somewhere behind my left ear. I remember the smell of moss and smoke, and the rhythmic pulse of drums that sounded like the heartbeat of something beneath the earth. And I remember her, the woman with the calf's head mask. She took the needle out of my arm, not like a nurse, like a ritual, like something necessary had just been transferred. That's when the numbness began. Not emotional, physical. Couldn't move. I couldn't even look away when they carried me, 4 of them strong, masked to a ring of slabs. 12, maybe more. Each one radiating outward from a large cracked altar stone. I didn't scream when they strapped me down. I couldn't. I just watched the stars disappear behind the branches. And then came the axe. And then came the heat. And then came the thing. The one that shouldn't exist. Its robes shimmered purple in the firelight, even though there was no fire close enough to make them glow. It shuffled. It breathed like someone trying not to drown. When they pulled its robes off, I can't think about that part for too long. Its head was an owl, but too large, too human. The body beneath was all slack meat, a pile of melted candle wax and open mouths in the wrong places. It drooled, it giggled, and it feasted. First on the limbs, then the children. I don't know how long it fed. Just remember the sounds. Snapping, cracking, swallowing. And when it was done, it opened its beak and vomited something onto the altar. A black lump of bones and hair. A memory. Then blackness. Then the hospital. My mother crying. The sterile brightness of white walls. Nurses with names I didn't recognize telling me I was lucky. That I was going to be okay. But I'm not. Something followed me back. Or maybe something left through me. Because every time I look at the stump, where my arm used to be, I feel it twitch, not with pain, but with purpose. Like it's reaching for something I can't see. Like it's part of some larger design. And every night since I woke up, I hear the drumming again. And I remember a voice whispering something soft in my ear right before the axe came down. 1 limb for the door, 3 lives for the crossing. And worse, I think I know what door they meant. The first night I spent alone in the hospital, I woke up screaming. They told me later that I tried to claw the bandages off my shoulder, with my right hand screaming something about fire, about a hill of arms, about masks. The nurse sedated me, said it was trauma release, said it was common after major accidents. But I remember what I saw before I screamed. I saw the boy. He was standing in the corner of the room, barefoot, covered in soot. No expression on his face, no mouth either. Just smooth skin where it should have been. But I heard him anyway, something vibrating in my spine. He said, "You let it in," and he was gone. No noise, no movement, just gone. The morphine helps. Sometimes. It makes the world soft around the edges, lets the white walls and white coats blur into something tolerable. But even under the haze, something isn't right. Can't feel my left arm. Obviously, that's expected. What's not expected is that I can feel something else in its place. Weightless shifting, like smoke where bone used to be. Sometimes it feels cold, like ice melting directly into my nerves. Sometimes it burns, not pain exactly, but the memory of pain. Phantom limb syndrome, the doctors call it. But I don't think they've ever woken up in the dark and seen a limb that isn't there twitch under the bedsheet. One night I pulled back the blanket. For a second, just one, I swear I saw a shadow attached to my stump. Long and thin, ending in fingers that weren't shaped like mine. It moved, and then it was gone. I told my therapist. She said trauma can do strange things. The brain, desperate to fill in the blanks, will invent sensations, images, even people. Maybe what you're remembering is a metaphor, she said. For the guilt. Guilt. I didn't understand at first. Then she mentioned the children. 3 of them, she said. In the other car. Killed instantly. Their mother, too. I'd forgotten their faces. I didn't even remember seeing another car. When she said it, I felt something turn in my stomach. Not grief, not sorrow, recognition. Like those children weren't strangers. Like I'd seen them before, kneeling, crying, lit by torchlight. When I asked if I could see a photo of the victims, the therapist gently refused. "You're not ready for that," she said. "Your brain is still healing. Let's focus on the present." But the present doesn't feel real. Keep hearing things in the hallway when no one's there. Chanting. Always in that same rhythm, low, guttural syllables that don't sound human. I caught myself repeating them under my breath, once sitting on the edge of the bed, swaying slightly like I was keeping time. The nurse interrupted, asked if I was okay. I nodded, smiled. She didn't ask again. They've stopped letting me have visitors. At first I thought it was protocol. But then I noticed that none of the nurses ever come into my room alone anymore. They always enter in pairs, never after sundown. My mother hasn't returned since day 4. Her calls go straight to voicemail. They say she's been informed of my progress, that she's resting. But I saw something in one nurse's eyes when I asked about her. Fear. Not pity, not concern. Fear. My meals sometimes arrive cold. My window won't open. The television turns itself on at night, playing static at full volume. Once I unplugged it, completely woke up hours later to find it humming again. The screen flickering with shapes I couldn't quite make out. One of them looked like the calf-headed woman, needle in hand. And that smell, burnt hair and sweet rot, drifts in around 3 a.m. without fail. It comes from the vents or the floor, or nowhere at all. Sometimes I press the call button just to feel the presence of someone real, even if they don't speak. I asked for my clothes the other day, said I wanted to leave. They told me I wasn't cleared, that I was still under observation, that there were complications with my discharge. I asked what that meant. The doctor looked down at his clipboard and said quietly, "You were supposed to die. That's all." Then he walked out and never came back. I tried to leave that night. Got out of bed, dragging my IV pole behind me like a leash, and stumbled into the hallway. The lights were dimmed, everything humming, and the floor was wet, not with water, with blood. Thin lines of it running from under doorways, not pooling, flowing, towards something. Toward the end of the corridor, where the red emergency light blinked like a heartbeat. I turned the corner and the hall ended with a mirror. Tall, cracked, faintly glowing. I swear it showed something behind me. Something tall, cloaked in purple eyes like moons. I reached out to touch it and woke up in my bed. Daylight. IV intact. Nurse smiling cheerful, asking if I'd like oatmeal or eggs. There was no blood, no hallway, no mirror, just the smell and the lingering voice in my head. 3 for the crossing, 1 for the door. I think I opened something. I think it's still open. Something is wrong with the light in my room. It flickers not with electricity, but with intention. As if the overhead bulbs are breathing, pausing every few seconds to exhale, letting the shadows stretch just a little further across the floor. I've started counting the gaps, 4 seconds of light, 2 of dark over and over. It feels like Morse code, or a heartbeat. The window shows nothing now. I used to be able to see a small garden, a courtyard. I remember a tree, thin, papery leaves that turned gold in the sun. Now there's just white. A blank, cold glow, like someone taped a bulb to the other side of the glass. It's not snow. It's not fog. It's just nothing. They've stopped checking on me during the night. I'm not sure when that started. I used to hear them outside the door, nurses exchanging shifts, rolling carts, small talk. Lately, I wake up to complete silence. No hallway noises, no machines beeping. Just the hum, soft and deep, and that same rhythm under my mattress, like a distant drum. I asked for a clock to keep track of time. They brought me one. It doesn't move. The hands tick but never turn. Sometimes I swear it spins backward when I blink. I tried writing down the days on the inside of a paper cup with the dull edge of a spoon. 8 lines. Then I fell asleep. When I woke up, there were 16, then none. There's a man in the next room who never stops whispering. I can hear him through the vent above my bed. It's not English, not a language I know, but I understand him. He's saying the same thing I heard the boy say. You let it in. You let it in. You let it in. His voice rises and falls like waves. Sometimes I press my good ear against the wall just to feel the vibration. It reminds me of the chanting from that night, the rhythm of blood and earth and heat. I asked the nurse who he was. She blinked at me like I'd spoken in a different language. There's no patient in that room, she said, but I hear him every night. She didn't answer, just touched the stump where my arm used to be and gave a sad, distant smile. It wasn't pity, it was resignation. That's when I started checking for cameras. There are too many in this room. 3 in the ceiling, 1 above the window, 1 disguised as a fire alarm. I pretended to sleep and watched the red lights blink, tracking my breath, my heartbeat. They're not hospital issue. There's writing scratched into the base of the IV pole. I didn't notice it until yesterday. 4 small words carved so shallow you'd miss them, unless you tilted it just right. The altar is near. I haven't told anyone. Who would believe me? Every time I try, something interrupts. One night, I tried to tell the night nurse. I got as far as "I don't think this place is what they say it is" before the power cut out. Not in the whole hospital, just my room. For 12 minutes. I timed it by my breathing. During those 12 minutes, I wasn't alone. There was something in the room with me. Heavy breathing, wet. Not close, but close enough. I felt it shift in the dark, circling the bed. And just when I thought it would speak, the lights came back. Nothing there. But the bedpan was full of ash, and my hospital bracelet was gone, replaced with a black string tied tight around my wrist. I tried to remove it. I can't. It burns when I touch it, like it knows, like they know. I stopped trying after that. They brought me a mirror yesterday, said it might help with reclaiming my self-image. The therapist was gentle. She said, "It's okay to grieve the body you've lost." I looked in the mirror, and something blinked behind me. I didn't turn around. I just watched. It was tall, masked, one of them. Not the calf this time. This one wore the skull of a dog, long broken snout, yellow teeth. It raised one hand and placed something on my shoulder. I felt it. I felt it. The pressure. The warmth, the quiet hum that passed from its hand into my chest. Then it was gone, but the mirror stayed. I covered it with a towel, but every time I look away, the towel is gone. The reflection is always the same. Me sitting in the hospital bed, and the hallway behind me, empty until it isn't. I think I'm being prepared, not healed, not helped, prepared for what I don't know. But the man in the next room, last night he finally stopped whispering and started laughing. I haven't slept since the laughter started. It's not just the man next door anymore. It's in the vents, in the drains, in the pulse of the walls. It starts soft, barely audible, and rises slowly like steam from a dead forest. Sometimes it sounds like me. Other times it sounds like a child. Today, I tried to ask a nurse about discharge again. Not because I thought they'd let me go. I just wanted to see what they'd say. She looked at me like I was already gone. "There's no car on record," she said. "What?" "The wreck," she said softly. There was no second vehicle. I stared at her. "But the kids..." She didn't respond, just straightened my blanket and walked out of the room. When I buzzed the nurse's station to ask more, no one came. The room's different now. Not all at once. But it's not the one I woke up in. The IV is gone. The machine that beeped every time my heart moved is gone. My arm stump has been rewrapped in cloth, black coarse with strange powder rubbed into the bandages. I didn't do it. I woke up and it was done. There's a bowl beside the bed. I can't move it. It's filled with what looks like dirt, but when I sniffed it, it smelled like sweat and metal. I think it's blood. Dry blood. Mine. Someone's. There's a mark on the wall now just above the mirror. A circle with 3 lines coming off the bottom like an eye with legs. I've seen it before. On the stone slab, etched beneath my back, burning against my spine. I keep touching the spot where I was cut. The flesh has healed. Too well. Too fast. No itching. No rawness. Just smooth skin that doesn't feel like mine. Sometimes I dream that the arm is back, but it's wrong. Longer, thinner, covered in feathers. The fingers end in claws. In the dream, I use it to open a door that doesn't belong in the hospital. A wooden one heavy with leather straps nailed across it. The kind that should never open. I always open it anyway. Inside fire. The children kneeling. And the thing with the owl's head waiting. Each time I open that door in my dream, I wake up with the smell of burnt hair in my lungs, and my mouth full of ash. The mirror plays tricks now. It shows me things when the lights go out. Quick flashes, glimpses. Last night I saw Danny. She was standing behind me, arms limp at her sides, eyes completely white. Her mouth opened wider than it should have, dislocating like a snake's. And she said, "You were never meant to leave." The reflection shattered before I could respond. In the morning, the mirror was intact again. But I wasn't. There's a crack in my mind. I can feel it. Something leaking through. Something not me. Yesterday, I caught myself whispering. I don't remember starting, but I was reciting something in that same guttural, inhuman rhythm. Over and over. In perfect time with the blinking red light outside my room. And I was smiling. I bit down so hard on the inside of my cheek, it bled just to make it stop. But the taste of blood didn't wake me up. It just made the whispering grow louder. The nurses won't meet my eyes anymore. They bring me food I don't eat. They don't speak. But I've noticed something. One of them wears a bracelet just like mine. Black string. Same knot. Same burn when you touch it too long. Today I asked her about it. She stared for a moment, then whispered, "He sees through you now." Walked away. No one said a word since. Not even the man in the room next door. His laughter stopped, replaced by wet breathing. Gurgled, like something is speaking from behind his throat, or growing inside it. My stump tingles, not painfully, just enough to remind me it's still there, still waiting. The air has gotten thicker, not humid, heavy, like something alive is sharing the space, like the room has lungs and I'm inside them. There's a new note on the wall above my bed. It wasn't there this morning, written in what looks like oil. 4 for the mouth, 1 for the vessel, 1 must watch. I don't know what it means, but I think I know which one I am. The mirror keeps changing. It doesn't show me anymore. It shows the hill, the one made of limbs and hair and sacrifice. It's bigger than before, growing, pulsing, breathing. Keep seeing 3 small shadows near the base. Children, still kneeling, still waiting, and just behind them masked figures. One of them holds an axe, the others ropes. And me, I'm watching, always watching. That's what they left me for. I woke up with something in my mouth. It was small, dry, sharp. I spit it into my palm before I was fully awake. A tooth, not one of mine. Too long, too thin. Black like it had burned in a fire and been left behind in the ash. I held it between my fingers, but it started to dissolve, turning to powder before I could show anyone. The taste stayed. Smoke and iron and something bitter, something familiar. When I turned to the mirror, I expected to see my reflection again, but it wasn't there. Instead, the glass was filled with thick, dark forest, trees bending low under invisible weight. And in the clearing, the altar. Fresh blood soaked the stone. I watched as masked figures moved in slow procession, dragging something toward it. Not a body, a shape, cloaked, bound, breathing. It screamed without sound. I didn't flinch, because I remember that scream. It was mine. Not from the night of the offering, no, before that. Before the arm. Before the fire. A scream from childhood. A scream from when I first saw the thing in the woods. I must have been 6 or 7. Camping with my uncle. We'd wandered too far from the fire. I saw something between the trees, watching. Silent. Eyes like wet marbles. It raised one hand, waved. I never told anyone. Until now I thought it had been a nightmare. But maybe that's when it chose me. Maybe the altar had been waiting ever since. The mirror flashed. Back to my room. To my bed. But the wall was wrong. paint had bubbled, cracked, peeled back like a scab. Underneath carved symbols. Dozens. All the same one from before the circle with legs like an insect's eye. Now it glows, dimly, like something warm behind it is breathing. The nurses don't speak anymore. They move like puppets, stiff, heavy, eyes wide but hollow. When they bring food, they place it down with shaking hands, then back out of the room without turning around. I stopped eating 2 days ago. My body doesn't care. I don't feel hunger, but I do feel something growing under my ribs, a pressure, like I've swallowed something alive, and it's learning the shape of me. I pressed my hand to my stomach and felt movement, a twitch, then stillness, and then a pulse, like a second heart. It beat once, then again, in rhythm with the light above my bed, with the whispering from the vents, with the drumbeat from the mirror. I think the hill is calling me. I think it needs me. This morning a visitor came. Not a nurse, not a doctor. A man, tall, dressed in gray. No badge, no clipboard, no mask. He sat at the edge of my bed and said, "Do you remember what the owl said?" My mouth went dry. I didn't answer. He nodded like that was the answer. "You didn't survive," he said softly. "You were spared." Then he stood, left. The door never opened. He was just gone. The smell came back after that. Smoke, hair, sap, and something else. Decay but deeper, old, like grave soil churned up after years. When I looked down, there was dirt under my fingernails. I don't remember touching the floor, but my bare feet were black with it. There was something scrawled across the tile in mud. One for the mouth, one for the eye. One must stay to guard the hill. The mirror changed again tonight. This time it showed me, standing, whole, with both arms, naked except for a mask, a ram's skull, cracked with teeth still inside. I was standing beside the altar. The creature was there too, owl-headed, corpulent, sleeping but twitching, waiting. And behind me, lined up in a circle, were others, masked, some tall, some child-sized, some wrong, bent at angles that don't make sense, all of them chanting. And I was leading them, not being dragged, not being sacrificed, leading. The reflection smiled, then pointed at me, and I felt my stump throb, deep, sharp, final. When I peeled back the bandage, I saw a new mark etched into the skin. Not a scar, a brand, burned into the flesh. The same circle with the legs, but now it had an eye in the center, open, watching, breathing. The pressure in my chest is stronger now. Sometimes when I open my mouth to speak, I feel something else try to answer. There's something under my skin. I can feel it moving just beneath the surface. Not constantly, just enough to remind me that I'm not alone inside myself. Sometimes it pulses, sometimes it writhes, sometimes it waits. This morning I woke up with blood in my ears. No pain, just pressure. Like I'd been listening to something too loud for too long. The mirror was humming when I opened my eyes. Low, vibrational. It wasn't reflecting the room anymore. It was showing something underneath it. A place deeper than floors and basements. A cavern, maybe. A nest. Lit by hundreds of candles stuck in bone. And in the center that thing again. The owl-headed mass. Sleeping, twitching. Its mouth stretched wide as if it were still screaming. Except it wasn't. Because I was. Only my mouth wasn't open. The sound was coming through me. I felt it in the roof of my mouth, behind my eyes, down in the cavity where my arm used to be. My lips moved, but I wasn't speaking. I was broadcasting. A chant. A call. I bit down on my tongue hard just to stop it. The taste of blood didn't bring me back. It just made the mirror brighter. When I blinked, the room was full. Not with people, with presence. Could feel them, watching, waiting. Just past the edges of sight. Sometimes I see them flicker, animal shapes, bone masks, long limbs. They never move. But when I look away, I hear the sound of something wet shifting positions. The mark on my stump is no longer dormant. It pulses, red, then white, then black. Each time I feel colder, not frostbite emptiness. Like a part of me has been hollowed out, made into a container. The black thread around my wrist has woven itself into the skin. I tried cutting it. The knife snapped. Tried burning it. My skin blistered, but the thread remained. Now, every night at 3:03 a.m., it tightens just enough to wake me. Just enough to remind me who I belong to. Last night I dreamt of the hill again, only this time I was beneath it, crushed under hundreds of limbs. They weren't rotting. They were alive, reaching, grasping, climbing over me, digging into me. Fingers slipping into my mouth, pulling at my cheeks. I couldn't scream. There was dirt in my lungs, and underneath it all a heartbeat. Huge, slow, ancient, not my own. I woke up choking, not on spit, on a feather. Long, white, coated in blood. It dissolved in my hand like ash. No one came when I pressed the call button. The hallway outside my room is always dark now. I can't tell if it's day or night. They've stopped pretending there are shifts, stopped wheeling carts past, stopped trying to make this feel like recovery. Because it isn't. There's no chart, no medications. The IV line they reinserted this morning was full of black fluid. I asked what it was. The nurse didn't answer. She just touched my face gently and said, "Almost there." Almost what? She didn't explain. Just smiled with too many teeth and left without opening the door. Later, when I finally worked up the nerve to look in the mirror again, I saw the boy, the soot-covered one with no mouth, standing next to me, holding something behind his back. I didn't turn around. I just watched. And then he pulled it out. My arm. The real one. Or something shaped like it. Wrapped in moss, bound in twine. Still bleeding, still twitching. He placed it at the base of the altar and looked at me. That was the first time I saw him smile. It wasn't human. It wasn't supposed to be. And then I remembered, not just the altar, the moment before, when I was standing at the edge of the woods watching the others gather. When the calf-headed woman found me. When she asked if I had chosen. I told her I hadn't. She said that didn't matter. That I had been chosen anyway. I remember the pain now. Not of the axe. Of the moment before when I stopped being afraid and started becoming something else. Not prey. Not victim. Witness. Sacrifices feed the mouth, but witnesses remember, and that's worse. I think I'm here to carry it back, to be the one who opens the door on the other side. Because this ritual doesn't end at the hill. It spreads, it watches through mirrors, it speaks through dreams, lives in hospitals, in headlights, in the moment, between your heartbeats where silence feels just a second too long. And it remembers you, like it remembered me. I woke up standing. I don't know how long I'd been like that, barefoot in the hallway, feet still trailing behind me like a leash. The lights were off except for one flickering exit sign ahead, casting shadows that didn't match anything in the real world. There was no pain, just an awful sense of knowing, of being exactly where I was supposed to be. My hospital gown was damp, not with sweat. Something thicker, greasy. I touched it, brought my fingers to my nose, and gagged. Blood. Not fresh. Old. When I turned, the door to my room was gone. In its place, bark. Twisted tree roots blackened, and wet growing over drywall and tile. I reached out and touched it. It was breathing. Slow. Deep. The hallway pulsed with it. When I stepped back, I nearly tripped over a pile of something behind me. Cloth. A mask. A calf's head hollowed out, still wet around the edges. And beneath it, folded carefully like a gift, a bundle of gauze stained deep red and a feather the size of my forearm. I heard my name. Soft. Familiar. Hey. I turned. Danny. Or what used to be Danny. She was standing at the end of the hall, barefoot, pale, her left arm hanging wrong, dislocated, as if she'd let someone take it and never bothered to put it back. She smiled, but her mouth didn't move. Her voice came from somewhere behind my ears. You were always going to return. You just didn't know which part. My knees went weak. I tried to speak, but my voice caught. You died, I whispered. They said you were dead. She cocked her head. So did you. And then she walked backward into the dark. The air shifted. Cold. Electric. I was pulled not with hands, but with memory. Suddenly, I was back on the slab. Not metaphor. Not dream. There. My left arm was still attached. But I could feel the axe coming. I could hear the chanting around me, the same rhythm that had been in my heartbeat for days now. The owl thing loomed near the altar, its body twitching like a dying animal. The masked ones moved in time, as if drawn by gravity towards suffering. They looked at me, not with malice, with reverence. I wasn't a sacrifice. I was a gift. And then my chest burned, white hot. I looked down. The brand had opened, split, revealing something inside. A slit, a mouth, a third eye wet and blinking. It looked around like it was just waking up. I screamed and woke up on the floor of my hospital room, curled in the fetal position, my mouth full of dirt and ash. The mirror was gone. The window was gone. There was only a single light above me, swinging slowly, creaking like a rope straining at the gallows. My stump ached. I pulled back the bandage. A feather was growing from the bone. Just one, white, alive. It twitched when I breathed. I vomited. Not food mud, hair, a fingernail. They told me I was healing. I'm not. I'm hatching, becoming. There's a weight in my spine now. Every step feels wrong, like my legs are being moved from somewhere else. Like someone is puppeting me from inside my own ribs. I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the IV pole's chrome. My pupils aren't round anymore. They're slitted, like a bird's, like his. I don't cry anymore. Tears don't come. But when I try, I taste salt and ash in the back of my throat. The whispering is louder. Always the same phrase. One for the mouth, one for the eye, one for the hill, one to watch. I used to think I was the one watching, but now I think I'm the hill. I carry the memory. I carry the mark. I carry the door. Every time someone dies in this place, I feel it ripple through me like a stone tossed into a lake. The water settles, but the reflection never returns the same. And now, in every surface, every polished floor tile, every sink basin, every shadowed TV screen, I see the mirror. Not showing me, showing what waits. The altar, the mass, the ones chanting, kneeling, smiling, waiting. The boy without a mouth, Danny half-bodied, me. All of us reflections folded in on reflections, memory stacked on memory. Time is just a circle here, and I'm its center. I don't know my name anymore. I've been trying to remember it all morning, mouthing sounds that used to feel like mine. Nothing fits. They slide off my tongue like grease. Checked my patient bracelet. It's blank now. Just the black thread embedded in my wrist. Still warm. Still pulsing. I think whatever was written there, the version of me that wore that name was shed. Left behind like a skin. The mirror shows a child now. Not me. A little boy, maybe 7, standing alone at the edge of the woods. He's crying. Doesn't know why. But I do. Because I was him. Or I carried him once. Before the hill. Before the mask. Before I learned that not all altars are built from stone. Some are made from memory. From scars. From silence. I blink and the mirror shifts again. Now it shows Danny. Alive. Laughing. We're sitting on the floor of a gallery years ago, passing around cheap wine in plastic cups and arguing about sculptures. That memory shouldn't be here. But it is. The sculpture we were looking at. It's in the mirror, too. One of the idols. The same warped, tumorous thing I saw the night this all began. Back when I thought it was just art. Back when I thought horror came from the outside. Now I know better. Horror grows, roots itself, waits. It's not the accident that broke me. It was the invitation. And I accepted it, even if I didn't know I was saying yes. They call it the remembering. At least that's what I call it now. Each night more comes back. Not just flashes, whole sequences. Smells, textures, phrases. I can recite the chant now without thinking. The words curl out of me like breath in the cold. Feather for the eye, flesh for the flame, root for the mouth, stone for the name. I don't know what it means, but my body does. When I speak it aloud, the walls pulse with light. The mark on my stump burns, then soothes like a warning and a reward in one. The boy without a mouth visited again last night. He stood beside the bed holding a box wrapped in moss and twine. When he opened it, something inside turned to smoke, and the room filled with whispers. Not voices, memories. Could feel them moving through me. A woman screaming, a child praying, a song sung in a language I've never learned, but can now hum without thought. I think I'm becoming a library, or a shrine. Or both. There are more of us. I've seen them now reflected not just in mirrors, but in puddles on the floor, in the glaze of untouched food, in the glare of ceiling lights. Others like me, marked, branded, witnesses, some younger, some unfinished. Their faces stretch when they smile, like masks left too long in the rain. One of them waved at me through the glass of my bathroom mirror. I waved back. It felt polite. I tried writing down what's happening. Used a pen and napkin from my meal tray. The words bled, not just ink fluid. Like the page was leaking something out of me. I read it before it dissolved. It said, "You are the altar, not metaphor, not hallucination, instruction." I pressed my fingers into the mark on my stump and felt warmth radiate outwards, spiraling up my neck, behind my eyes, into my spine. For a moment I was gone. Not unconscious, not dreaming, just not here. Instead, I was back beneath the hill. I could smell the ash. I could taste bone. I could hear the owl-headed thing breathing. It was closer now, not asleep, not feeding. Just waiting. For me. For the others. For something to end. Or begin. When I came back to myself, the IV was full of feathers. Dozens. White, black, gray. Some twitching. Some dead. They've started to grow from my chest now. Just small ones. Around the scar where they inserted the line. They itch. But I don't scratch. I know better. I think the feathers are language, or keys, or teeth. Something that opens something else. Something older. Something I'm meant to carry. Because there's no escaping this. Not by running. Not by screaming, not by forgetting. The only way out is through, and I think that's why they chose me. 'Cause I'm good at watching, at remembering, at bleeding the line between what was and what will be. I'm not healing, I'm blooming. I no longer blink like I used to. Something in me holds the eyelids still. It likes to watch. Even when I sleep, it watches. Especially then. The mark on my stump has begun to hum. Not audibly, internally. Like a song played in my bones, rising every night at the same time. 3:03. I used to fear that hour. Now I wait for it. The black string around my wrist, it's gone. In its place, a thin line of scabbed writing burned directly into the skin. I can't read it. Not with human eyes. But when I touch it, press 2 fingers into the center, I understand. The eye sees. The hill grows. The door opens. That phrase echoes through me now. I say it when I breathe, when I move, when I remember. And I remember so much now. Not just the altar, not just the axe, but the ones before me. The man with the stitched mouth who opened his throat on the stones. The woman with bird bones for hands who led the children in a circle. The boy who was chosen and unchosen and chosen again. They are in me. Their memories. Their endings. Their instructions. The mirror showed me a vision today. No, not a vision. A moment. Myself, years from now. Eyes black, chest feathered. Standing in the woods beneath a sky that weeps fire. Speaking to someone. A child. You let it in, I say, just like the boy told me. And then I hand the child a mask. Ram's skull. Still warm. The scene vanishes when I blink, but the scent remains pine rot, smoke blood. My new breath. The nurses don't visit anymore. What's left of them wouldn't know how. Their faces have blurred. Smiles stitched into place. Eyes filmed over with something white and growing. They move like they're remembering something heavy. One of them left a tray at my door last night. I didn't eat it, but the food decomposed anyway. I watched the apple wrinkle black and collapse. By morning, it was gone. In its place, a single handprint on the floor. Too small to be mine. Too burned to be alive. I followed it. Stepped where it had pressed. Each print glowed just for a moment, then disappeared behind me. They led me into the mirror. Yes, into. Not a trick, not a hallucination. The glass parted like breath on cold water. I stepped through. On the other side, forest. Silent. Breathing. Skyless. Roots pulsed underfoot like veins. The trees leaned in, listening. I knew where I was. The below place. The origin of the altar. Not a forest. A memory pretending to be one. And in the center, the hill. Alive now. Heaving with every name it's been fed. Limbs still twitching. Eyes still blinking. It's not a pile. It's a mouth. I walked toward it and felt my own mouth open. Not in speech, but in echo. Words that weren't mine spilled out. Feather for the eye. Flesh for the flame. Memory for the door. Blood for the song. Each word made my teeth ache. When I reached the hill, I placed my right hand on it. It was warm. It pulsed. It opened. Not all the way. Just enough to whisper. Soon. Then the vision collapsed. I was back in my bed. Breathing hard. Feathers around me now, not just 1 or 2. A nest. My chest is covered. They push through skin like soft daggers. When I inhale, they quiver. My fingernails are black. They smell like soil. There's no mirror now. Just a doorway where it used to be. Wooden. Leather bound. The one I saw in my dreams. The one I opened before. It's here now. Real. Waiting. I haven't touched it yet. Not fully. but I hear what's behind it. Chanting, feasting, breathing. I think I'll open it soon. Not because I want to, because I must, because I was made to. That's what I am now. A door, a hill, a mouth, a remembering. I try to whisper my name, but the only word that comes out is witness. I open the door. There was no sound, no blast of wind, no swirling void. Only the silence of something that has waited too long to be let back in. The frame was wooden, warped alive. The leather bindings twitched as I touched them, flexing like muscle. My fingers sank in. The door breathed, and then it opened. And so did I. My body didn't move. It peeled, unfolded like paper soaked through. Layers of me-skin voice names slipped sideways. I watched them fall to the floor and dissolve into feather and ash. And what stepped through wasn't me anymore. Not entirely, but not something else either. It was a memory shaped like a man, a shape filled with voices. They whispered as I walked through, root for the teeth, flame for the tongue. Let the hill speak, and the hill did. It rose to meet me higher than before, pulsing alive. The pile was breathing now, each limb twitching with stolen rhythm. Eyes blinked, mouths moved without sound. The air was thick with incense and rot, and the warmth of blood just cooled. The altar was open. I climbed it. Not as offering, as instrument. The owl-headed thing stirred in the trees beyond. I could feel its presence like heat against my spine, like wings shadowing a world too small to hold it. It was watching, waiting for my mouth to open. So I did. I opened it wide and I sang. Not a song I'd ever heard before. A chant from the root of things, from bone, from stone, from the marrow of forgotten names. Each note summoned a flicker in the crowd of masked figures gathered around the hill. They swayed, they knelt, they cried tears of black sap, and then they followed. One by one, crawling up the hill, they reached into their chests and pulled out what remained hearts, lungs, teeth. They offered them to the mouth beneath me. Didn't flinch. I consumed, not with hunger, with purpose. Every bite fed the eye in my stump. Every swallow deepened the chant. I was no longer leading the ritual. I was the ritual. Somewhere inside the chorus, I heard Danny. I didn't turn. Her voice had changed, aged, twisted, beautiful. She whispered, "You were always going to be the door." The boy without a mouth stood beside her, now holding the bundle wrapped in twine. My old self, folded, forgotten. He fed it to the altar like a toy no longer needed. The world began to flicker. Day and night collapsed. Seasons blinked past in single breaths. Leaves burned, grew, fell again. The sky opened, and the owl descended. Massive, endless, eyes wide and wrong. It landed atop the altar and screamed. I screamed with it. From the pit of my spine to the opening in my chest, I let out the sound it needed. Not fear, not agony, invocation. The forest bowed. The earth cracked, and the mirror inside me shattered. For a moment I was everywhere. Every masked figure, every kneeling child, every axed limb, every whispered phrase. I was the before and the after. And when it all collapsed, when the ritual ended, when silence returned, I was back in the hospital bed, alone, clean, wrapped, IV in place, machines humming. A doctor at the foot of the bed said, "You were in a car accident." I smiled, because now I understand the lie. The car, the wreck, the children, Danny. All of it was a translation. a way to make sense of what cannot be seen. The accident wasn't what hurt me. It was what opened me. And now I'm open still. The wound never closed. The door never really shut. And when they ask me how I'm feeling, I say, better. Because I can feel the next one. The next remembering. They're already here. Knocking. They say I'm doing well. Recovering quickly. Better than expected even. They ask if I remember the crash, and I nod. I say I must have blacked out. That the details are fuzzy. That I'm grateful to be alive. Everyone smiles. But not with their eyes. Especially not the nurse with the lopsided grin who always leaves feathers on my pillow. She never mentions them. I never ask. They think I'm grieving. Processing trauma. So they bring in a therapist. A soft-spoken woman with careful eyes. She shows me Rorschach blots. I see a nest, a wound, an eye that never shuts. She smiles gently. I say a butterfly. She notes something on her clipboard. They give me exercises, stretches, journaling prompts. They want me to write down dreams. I pretend I don't have any. I do, every night. Always the same. The hill is smaller now. Not gone, just patient. It watches me from behind every closed eye. The limbs twitch. The feathers breathe. Sometimes I hear my own voice rising from it, chanting in a rhythm that matches my heartbeat. The mark on my stump has healed. It doesn't glow anymore. But when I touch it, I still feel warmth. And under it, a pulse. Not mine. This morning, I found soil beneath my toenails. I hadn't left the room. The window faces nothing but blue sky and chirping birds. It feels wrong. Like a set piece. The same two clouds roll past every day at 11:12 a.m. I timed it, rewatched it, looped. Danny visits me in dreams. Not bleeding, not broken, just changed. Her face is mostly blank now. No features, just suggestion. She whispers, "You're holding it well." I ask what she means. She leans close and presses a finger to my chest. It sinks in. Flesh gives way like warm wax. She says, "You're the altar now. The offering comes to you." Wake up choking on feathers. Again. The nurse wipes my mouth without asking. Doesn't flinch when I vomit a perfect black stone. Takes it in a silver dish and leaves the room. No one says a word. When I try to walk, the floor shifts. Not visually, physically. Like something beneath the tile is rolling beneath my steps. Following. Coiling. I ask for fresh clothes. They bring robes. Soft gray. No zippers, no seams. They feel ancient. Like memory woven into cotton. I wear them without complaint. Because I know what I am now. Not sick. Not healing. Waiting. The mirror has returned. Not a glass one. It's water now. A small bowl on the table by the bed. Still as death. But when I look into it, I see the forest. Not from above. From within. I am roots now. I am stone. I am the circle drawn in ash. The boy without a mouth stands just beyond the trees. Watching me. Holding the mask in both hands. He's growing older. Soon I think he'll speak. And when he does, he'll say the words I taught him. The ones I've tried to forget. Feather for the eye. Flesh for the flame. Root for the mouth. Stone for the name. It echoes in me like a second breath. Sometimes I speak it aloud. Not to frighten. Just to remember. The therapist asked me what I see when I close my eyes. I told her. A door. She asked what's behind it. I smiled. Another me. And she didn't write anything down. The night nurse hummed a tune last night while checking my vitals. I recognized it. It was the chant slowed and softened, turned into a lullaby. She winked before leaving. I didn't sleep. Not really. Just listened. The walls whisper now. Not loud, not constant, but there. A voice like soil shifting, like something big turning over beneath the earth, waiting to rise. I am the soil. I am the thing that rises. They tell me I'll be discharged soon, that I've made excellent progress, that I'm ready to rejoin the world. I nod. I say thank you. I smile. But beneath the robes, my skin itches. New feathers, new eyes, new doors. They think I'm leaving healed, but I'm leaving whole. And whole is far worse. I left the hospital on a Wednesday. Sky too blue, grass too green. A breeze that felt like it was trying too hard. The discharged nurse shook my hand. She had no fingernails. I signed papers with a pen that bled something darker than ink. No one noticed. The cab driver didn't talk much. Just adjusted his mirror too often. At every stoplight he checked it. Not to see the road behind us, to look at me. When he dropped me off, he said, "You were in the paper. Car crash, right?" I nodded. He frowned. I remember reading. Everyone died. He didn't wait for a tip. My apartment hadn't changed. Same smell of dust and disuse. Same plants dead now. The clock was blinking 3:03 frozen. No matter how many times I reset it, it returned to that hour. I stopped trying. The mirror in the hallway cracked when I passed. I hadn't touched it. Just walked by. At night I laid in bed and stared at the ceiling. It breathed, slow, like lungs inside drywall. When I closed my eyes, I was back beneath the hill. Not as memory, as function. I don't dream anymore. I relive. Outside, life moved on. Kids rode bikes. Dogs barked. Someone played piano in the apartment below. Always the same melody. 5 notes. Over and over. A pattern I recognized from the ritual. Flesh feather rootstone. Mouth. I shop for groceries like anyone else. But the meat is always gray. The fruit has veins. I eat anyway. I need to feed what's inside. The eye in my arm is quiet now. But sometimes when I brush against someone in the store, they freeze. Their pupils dilate. They twitch like a bird hearing thunder. One woman dropped her shopping basket and whispered, "Not yet," before running out. I didn't follow. They'll come to me when it's time. The man in the coffee shop asked if I wanted my usual. I've never seen him before. He handed me a cup without writing a name. I drank it. It tasted like ash and memory. On the way home, I passed a child drawing in chalk on the sidewalk. A circle, 3 legs, an eye in the middle. I stopped. He looked up at me and said, "You came back wrong." I smiled. So did he. A tooth fell from his mouth. He didn't pick it up. The TV in my apartment turns on by itself now. No channels, just a black screen. And behind it, reflected in the glass, I see the forest, the altar, the crowd, growing, preparing, waiting. Danny stands beside it, her face half bone now, the rest feather. She raises one arm and places it on a child's head, the same child from the sidewalk. He kneels. I kneel too. The static pulses. When I turn off the screen, the afterimage remains for hours. My neighbors avoid me. One taped a note to my door. We heard the chanting. "Please stop." I hadn't said a word, but maybe I was humming. Or maybe the thing inside me was. The feather growths on my chest have hardened now. Not sharp, just firm. Like armor made of bone and breath. I saw myself reflected in a passing car window today. Not me. Something adjacent. My mouth didn't move. But the reflection smiled and whispered, "Soon." My phone never rings. Except once. "Unknown number," I answered. All I heard was a knocking. Slow, measured. 3 beats, then silence, then the voice of a child. Feather for the eye. I dropped the phone. It kept ringing. The door across the hall from mine is different now. Taller, heavier, same leather straps, same breath behind it. I haven't opened it yet, but I pressed my hand to it last night. It pulsed back. I think it knows I'm ready. The mirror in my bathroom is fogged all the time. No steam, no water, just fog. And through it I can see the hill, bigger, hungrier. My image fades. The altar remains, and I standing at the top, arms out, mouth open. Calling, calling, calling. I hear them now. Not just in mirrors, not just in dreams everywhere. The world hums with it, a frequency I didn't notice before. It bleeds from flickering street lamps, from broken radio static, from the distant churn of traffic that doesn't belong to any road I recognize. It's not noise, it's instruction. Sometimes I wake with phrases carved into my arms, letters that weren't there the night before, written in a language I've never studied, but instinctively understand. 3 shall rise, 1 shall speak, 1 must feed, 1 must walk. I'm the one who walks. I think Danny is the one who speaks. And the child, the one with the chalk in the teeth that fall like petals he feeds. The others are coming now. I see them, not all at once, but enough. A man at the pharmacy with feathers growing from his throat. A woman on the bus whose reflection watches me a beat too long. A baby in a stroller reaching for me not playfully, but like it remembers me from somewhere older than birth. They know. Their eyes say it. Their bones whisper it. We are the hill now. The altar walks. The street outside my window cracks differently now. Beneath the concrete roots, thick, black, moving. The building creaks at 3:03 a.m. Not from settling, from breathing. Last night I heard footsteps on my ceiling, not above me on the ceiling. Pacing, heavy, then a thump, then silence. I didn't look. I already knew. The sky turned inside out this morning, just for a second. Birds flew backward. Clouds pulsed like lungs. I blinked and everything reset. But the taste remained. Iron, ash, honey. I ate nothing that day. I fed another way. At night I walk the neighborhood. Barefoot. No one stops me. Even when I chant. Even when I carry the mirror bowl full of feather and blood. They pretend not to see. But they feel it. A dog barked at me once. Its eyes rolled back. It whimpered. Then turned inside out and slumped. I buried it with my hands. The dirt felt warm, like skin. The door across the hall opens more each day. No hinges, no sound, just wider. And what's behind it? It's not a room, it's the forest. I've seen the altar through the crack. The boy without a mouth stands at its base now. He's holding my heart, not metaphor, not memory. It's pulsing in his hands. I'm not dead, but something inside me no longer lives where it used to. He protects it, feeds it moss and bone, keeps it warm. He's growing now. Soon he'll have a mouth. And when he does, the next door will open. I went to the gallery yesterday, the one with the sculptures. The idols, they're different now. More lifelike, more aware. One of them turned to face me. Its mouth opened, inside a smaller version of my face. I didn't scream. I bowed, and it whispered. The stone remembers. I left my offering in the corner. A tooth I didn't need anymore. The floor swallowed it gratefully. Back home, the walls have begun to change color. Veins under paint, pulsing when I breathe. There are new knocks, not just 3. Now it's 12. 12 knocks, 12 slaps, 12 remembered. The rhythm grows faster each night. Drumbeat in the wood, The mirror fogs not with steam, but with voice. I wipe it clean. The reflection is not me. It is the thing I will become. Bones arranged into language. Feathers stitched into scripture. I reach out. It reaches back. We touch. The mirror cracks. My hand is warm with blood and meaning. And in that moment I remember the axe, the chant, the sound of the owl thing feeding, the warmth of fire sealing my wound. The children's screams swallowed by the trees. One to see, one to stay, one to lead. I am leading. I've begun drawing the circle in chalk on my floor, around my bed, around the bowl, around the mask I made from bone and wax and hair. I sit in the center and hum. Sometimes the lights in the building go out, but I still glow. My eyes glow. My mouth does not move, but I'm always speaking now. To them, to the others, to the thing that waits. It's almost time. The final knock is close. I can feel it in my teeth, my stomach, my dreams, my breath. And when it comes, we open. It began with the 13th knock. Not on the door, inside me. A heartbeat that wasn't mine. A rhythm from beneath my ribs, deep and wet, shaking the cage of my chest, until my breath matched it. 13 knocks, 13 steps, 13 teeth in the mouth that waits. The door across the hall opened wide tonight. No hinges, no sound, just invitation. Behind it, the forest, no longer a memory, no longer reflection. Now, the real world peeled back like skin, revealing the altar at its core, raw, open, pulsing. I crossed the threshold barefoot, every feather that had grown from me molted in silence, drifting upward instead of down. They hung in the air, suspended like stars. The ground beneath my feet was warm and wet. Breathing, I walked a path paved in bones. They clicked softly, rhythmically, like prayer beads beneath my weight. The boy without a mouth stood beside the altar. His mask had cracked. From within a new face, mine, but older, covered in moss and ash. When he turned, I followed. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. The others were waiting in a circle, masked, kneeling, humming, their mouths stitched, their hearts open. All of them once strangers, all of them now stone. The trees leaned in whispering ancient vowels. The sky bled purple and gold, and from the altar the owl-headed god began to rise, larger than thought. Wings the width of forgetting, eyes full of mourning and flame. Its beak opened. Inside mirrors, so many mirrors. Each one showed me again and again and again. A child, a sacrifice, a door, a wound. And through it all I saw Danny. Not dead, not living, just returned. She stood at the base of the hill, half shadow, half song. She smiled with all the mouths she had gathered, then raised her arms. It began. The chant rose like heat, like rot, like holy fire. Flesh for the mouth, feather for the sky, root for the silence, bone for the eye. The owl opened wider, its feathers curled inward, becoming steps. Its scream drowned out the stars. I stepped forward, not afraid, not alone. I knelt. The boy placed something in my hands, the mask. The one from the calf-headed woman. It was warm. It pulsed. It breathed. I put it on. It did not fit. It became me. My skin cracked. Not in pain. In memory. Underneath stone. Etched with names. Thousands. Each one spoken by the mouth that fed. Each one remembered by me. I opened my mouth and let them speak. Their screams. Their songs. Their prayers, their ends. All of it spilled out. All of it fed the god. The altar glowed. The hill opened. Not a cave, not a door. A womb. Ready? I stepped in. So did Danny. So did the boy. So did the others. We became root and limb and ash. We became the next remembering. The owl descended, not as beast, as shadow. It wrapped around us, tucked us into itself. Its belly opened. Inside cities, forests, children, altars. Time. All of it wept. All of it sang. And then, silence. The mouth closed. The god slept. And I became the ground again. Soft. Full. Waiting. I am not where I was. I am not who I was. I am. That is all. The hill breathes through me now. Each gust of wind through the trees is a sigh from the lungs I no longer carry. Each root that twists beneath a quiet home is a finger reaching toward what sleeps. The boy has a mouth now. He uses it gently, whispers names into the soil. Some of those names are yours. Some have not yet been spoken. Some never were but still must be. Danny walks the forest barefoot, radiant feathered and flame-scarred. She tends the mirrors. She opens them when the timing is right. When you look at yourself too long and your face flickers, that is her inviting you. When you blink too slow and hear a chant in the quiet between, that is me remembering you. We are the remembering now. We are the altar and the altar keeper. We are the one who opens the door. The city moves above us, soft-footed, unaware, but it's already here. In the cracks in the pavement, in the heartbeat of a child not yet born, in the twitch of a shadow that doesn't belong to you. It's all memory now, looped and layered. The hospital gone, but its bones remain. Its machines hum in the dreams of those who survived. They hum the same note: feather, flesh, flame, mouth. The door opens on its own now, not in the forest, not in the mirrors. In you, it opens when you wake and forget what the dream was, but feel something wet in your mouth. It opens when you hum a tune you don't remember learning, but know every word. It opens when you touch the glass and it fogs before your breath. I am everywhere now, not watching, not waiting, becoming. You carry me, every whisper, every glance, every knock at your door when no one is there. You carry me, and I remember you. I remember what you offered, what you refused, what you gave me without knowing. I wear it, I feed it. The god sleeps again, but not for long. It dreams in roots and fire and mirrors. And when it stirs, when its eye opens again, you will be standing where I once stood. You will feel the feathers growing. You will smell the ash in your bed. You will see the child drawing in circles. You will hear the knock. You will not answer. You will not have to, because I already did. And through that answer, you are known. You are seen. You are already inside. This is not a warning. This is not a confession. This is not even a story. This is a remembering. And you are next.